Hey everybody, my name is Jen and this is Jen Geigley Knits. Welcome and I hope you're doing well. I would like to do a little introduction because I don't know if I've ever done that here. So if you're new here, my name is Jen. I live in Iowa with my family and my Siamese cat and my Russian tortoise who lives in our living room. I'm a knitter, a teacher. I write knitting patterns. I've been designing knitwear since 2010. And I love teaching knitting classes. I love doing knitting things. I love going to fiber festivals. I love everything about knitting. And so welcome, here we are. I'm also going to dub this as the anti-productivity episode. Burnout is real. I mean, I'm in a weird time of life. I don't know what's going on. I'm feeling things shifting and I'm going to talk about it. The one thing I've been knitting all week, I can't even really show you or talk about. It's just a thing that I'm working on that's like a secret project that I'm not allowed to reveal yet. So I don't have a lot of new things to show you this week. And so I'm going to talk about what's going on. I am still working on my Maya Light by Helene Magnuson, but I haven't made a lot of progress since I saw you last week. And also I haven't really had time to work on my Bang Out a Sweater like I really wanted to, but other things have taken over and it's okay. I wish I had all the time in the world, all the time in the day, all the hours to knit on things that I want to make, but like this really fun sweater. This is the Bang Out a Sweater. Modern Daily Knitting is doing a knit along in the month of February. I'm supposed to be at like the body by now, dividing for sleeves and like past that section. And I'm not, but that's okay. It's okay. And it's just going to bring me back to it's okay to not be super fast, super productive 100% of the time. It's just not possible for anyone. I have a lot of work stuff kind of hitting me in the face right now, and I'm sort of reevaluating things. And if you have any feedback, let me know. I'm also a graphic designer, so that's like my day job because knitting, and this is where I'm at. Let's talk about it. I am at this funny crossroads where I have been doing freelance graphic design since the year 2000. So for 26 years. I went to school for that. I have a degree I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree. And so I have felt like this whole time that I should be doing graphic design. I do love it. But my freelance graphic design has kind of taken over the majority of my free time, and I have a lot of different graphic design freelance jobs. So I often find myself working day and night and weekends, and almost like I'm on call for some things because I get a lot of rush projects that are sometimes due the same day or the next morning. I'll get something like last week, I got something at 8 p.m. that was due like midday the next day. And it was a big project. And people know that I work fast. And so it's like kind of my own fault. And so I take these things and I do them. And then what I really want to be doing in my knitting life is just going that hard on knitting. Because it's probably, it just has become my true passion, the thing I enjoy the most, the thing that's kind of starting to take over in a good way, where like I feel like I could maybe pursue the knitting full time instead of chasing the graphic design stuff that's sort of like become a burnout situation. So like I'm the last person to talk about anti-productivity because I kind of suck at it and I'm trying to find my way through it. And I really would like to take just YouTube, knitwear design, and this kind of stuff and put all my energy into that. For some reason, this is really hard for me because I don't want to let this go, but I really want to pursue this. And so I'm at this funny point of trying to figure that out, trying to find the best balance. I've always been trying to find the work-life freelance balance. And it's been a beautiful thing because it has let me stay home with my kids, especially the graphic design freelance. It got me through like, I had a full-time in-person office job when I had Lotus 19 years ago. And something stopped me in my tracks. Like, I can't go back to that job. I have to stay home with my baby. And they were like, whoa, what? Because we had not discussed that. And I started to freelance and I started to scrap together all these freelance jobs. And that's what I've been doing ever since. I might have 7 clients that I work for, and I might be filling a maternity leave for this company, and I might be filling a gap while they're hiring people for another company, and I might have one kind of more full-time, bigger one that takes, but it all takes so much time to juggle, to keep it organized, to keep it on track. I also, for one company that I work for, I run social media accounts for, I think, 15 clients right now, and on top of my own. Which is a lot, you guys. It's a lot. So, I don't know. Something's got to give. And I think I have some decisions to make, and they're difficult. I don't like to say no. I don't like to, I feel like I can do it all. If I just plan it correctly, I feel like I can fit it all into my day, but I'm realizing that's not the healthiest option, mental health wise and just energy wise. And yeah, I think it's like this whole, I keep seeing everywhere I go, the year of the horse energy. And it's like, follow your dreams and do all this, it's like, but I'm also very realistic, and I don't like to stop something without a backup plan. And, money is like a necessary evil. And so, yeah, I'm trying to figure this all out right now. I have some ideas and things in the works. I'll just tell you, right before I went to New York City, I got offered a book deal with a real publisher. This is a very big deal for me. I'm really excited about it. And that, I think, is the thing that has shifted everything else, because I know I need a lot of time and energy and rest to make that book happen, to make it what I want it to be, to make it the most beautiful thing that I can come up with. And I want it to be really good. And so it's going to take time for knitting and pattern writing and writing the rest of it and making it beautiful and perfect and wonderful and as good as it can be. I don't know if I can do that and everything else that I have going on right now. So it's an interesting time. So I don't know, stay tuned. So getting back to the anti-productivity title of this episode that I was talking about in the beginning, because I just talked about a whole lot of productivity. It's because I was going to start this video like I didn't finish anything this week. I have nothing to show you. I have nothing, even though I worked on a lot of stuff and one big thing that I can't really talk about or show you. And that's like a sad part, I think, of the hustle culture. And I don't want you to feel that way. And I don't want me to feel that way. And also, knitting and design and creativity and progress ebbs and flows. Like, it's part of life. There's like a lot of things going on. Both of my kids had February birthdays. So we just had Bowie's birthday on Monday. And 2 weeks before that was my daughter's birthday. So it's just like a busy time with, parties and kids and family stuff too, which is what I love. And that's my number one priority, and it should be. So, it's like I have to work in free time that's like creative time and time to rest and let myself have the creative energy to make new things. And then the graphic design and creativity, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but progress and knitting and productivity ebbs and flows is what I'm trying to say. So I could lie to you and say that I've got something to show you every single week on this channel, and, new sweater every week, or like a half a new sweater every week. That's not realistic. And I think some people do that somehow. I am not that person. But yeah, I am trying to figure out a better balance in my life and possibly letting one big thing go to do another big thing, which I don't think would be a bad thing for me. It's just a really hard decision for me to get to the point of making that step. It's a big one, but I think I'm on the verge, and that book is the catalyst pushing that thing over the edge, I think. So we'll see. I don't know why I'm explaining all this. I just think it's nice to hear other people's real stories about how they manage their lives and their work and their hobbies and they're, it's more than a hobby. It's my love of this craft that is what I want to be working on. It's what I want to be sharing. It's what I want to be putting out into the world. And so, I don't know. That's what I was going to talk about that. Knitting does not have to be output based. And it doesn't matter how many sweaters you make this year, how many designs you make this year. The number doesn't matter. It matters if we're enjoying it. And it matters to me if I'm being creative and having fun and putting out things that I really want in the world and sharing that. And so it's not like how fast can we do it? That's not the part that matters. And I'm trying to learn that lesson too. And I just want to talk about it because I think I'm not the only one who feels this way. What I am going to do the rest of this episode, because I really don't have anything else to share or show you. I asked you guys, for whoever watched my channel during Vlogmas, I asked for one day to please submit Q&A questions in case I had a day during Vlogmas where I didn't have anything to show you. And then that never happened all month. And so I kept these Q&A questions for another day, which will be today, where I have nothing to show you. So let's go through some of the Q&A questions. Thank you for sending these. I might ask you to do this again in the future because especially as I'm working on a book and things like that, there might be more days where I just don't have a brand new thing to show you every time. So let's do a little Q&A. I think that's kind of fun anyway. I haven't done one of these in a long time. And so these questions are from December, but they still all kind of make sense now. So let's get into it. Okay, question number 1 is, how did you and Bo meet? And do you have a wedding photo you can share? This is so sweet. Thank you for this great question. Here is our wedding photo, and a couple of them. And we met in the year 2000 on a blind date. And this is before dating apps. This is before maybe I had a cell phone, I don't even think I had a cell phone yet. So I had just moved to Des Moines from Iowa State. I had just graduated and I was meeting up with some friends that I kind of knew in the area. I really didn't know anybody here. I knew a couple people kind of, but I was hanging out with some friends and trying to meet people and be social a little bit as I was looking for a job, my first job. And I kept hanging out with this group of friends and they kept telling me, we have this friend, this guy who would be perfect for you. You guys are so much alike, blah, 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 blah. But he was never with the group of friends out. And I'm like, well, who is this person? But everybody swore in the group that oh my gosh, you have to meet him. You guys would get along so well. You have so much in common, blah, blah, blah. So I gave them my landline phone number to give to him on a piece of paper. This is so old school and great. And then they did, but whoever gave it to him, it was weeks later and I had kind of forgotten about it. And so I get a random call weeks later after I had seen these people, and it was Bo asking me out on a blind date. And I almost said no because I was like, who? I don't even really remember but then he was like, yeah, it's our friends and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, this is a big chance to take, but I don't know. So I said yes. And he took me to this really cool coffee place that isn't here anymore. And they had crepes and pastries, and it was called the Chat Noir, the Black Cat. And it was in this old historic house. It's super cool downtown. And I was kind of impressed by this. And so we had a coffee date and we hit it off immediately. And we did have everything in common. The friends hadn't even told me all the things we had in common, but we both played guitar. We both like metal bands and punk and the same alternative music, from whatever, the 90s and stuff. We both are graphic designers. I kid you not. We have way too much in common. We like all the same music. We are just every weird thing. It was me too, me too, me too. And it was just this funny instant connection and a conversation. And I really, really liked him right away. The problem was I was making plans to move to Minneapolis that summer maybe, or in a few months. So I was waiting for my lease on my apartment to run out. And then I was planning to move to Minneapolis. I ended up canceling all those plans because I liked him so much. I didn't really tell him that yet because I didn't want to freak him out, but I canceled my plans, all of them, to move to Minneapolis. I had interviews lined up. I had all this stuff. And I stayed to basically date Bo. And then like we started very slowly. So I wasn't sure if he liked me that much yet, but like I was going to take a chance on it because I hadn't really met someone like that before where we really instantly hit it off like perfectly. So I was like, this is worth staying a little longer just to see what happens. And so I did. And then we dated for 4 years and got married, and the rest is history. So yeah, he's from Des Moines here where we live now. And yeah, we just ended up staying here. I never moved to Minnesota. I lived in Minnesota during college. I loved Minneapolis. And so I was really planning on going back there, but I ended up here instead, and I'm pretty happy about it. Things worked out, and yeah, we're still going strong 26 years later. The next question is, what is your knitting origin story? So this happened kind of twice when I was pregnant with Lotus. So 2006, 2007, I went to a knitting store called the Little Pink House in Valley Junction for a knitting lesson when I was pregnant, and it was winter, and I was like, I've got to learn how to do this. It was on my mind. I'd seen like books, and I had a couple of friends who were knitters, and I was like, that seems like something I would absolutely love. Let me go try. I had tried crochet a little bit, like with my grandma as a child, but hadn't really gone very far with it. So I went to the Little Pink House, and it was like a nighttime class, and they handed me like a little tiny glob of worsted weight, but it was like not nice yarn at all. It was like scratchy, woolly, fuzzy. It looked like people had used it before. And I attempted that evening. It didn't quite click. And I was like, I don't know if I like this. But then I asked my friends Sarah and Amy, who I knew were like solid knitters, and they loved it so much. And I asked them if I could hang out with them and they could teach me. And they were like, yeah, of course. So they taught me how to knit my very first scarf, which was a slip stitch scarf with a little, like an eyelet or like a keyhole is what they called it. You could put the scarf end through. Hold on, let me go get it because I know exactly where it is. Also, this is a sign to keep your very first knitting project, or if you're teaching someone to knit, to tell them to keep their first knitting project. I think it's so important, so special. So I teach a lot of Knitting 101 classes in our community, at high schools, adult community ed, etc. And I always tell them, keep your first knitting project. And we always start with a garter stitch scarf, like just plain. But I started with this amazing scarf that has held up all these years out of good old Lion Brand Thick and Quick, my original favorite yarn. And it was like a knit slip rib. And look how nice it is, actually. This is still very wearable. And I still would. But there's the little keyhole. It's kind of large. And then you put the tail through. And I made this that winter. And I was so stinking proud of this scarf. And I made like 10 of these in different colors, in all the Lion Brand colors. Look how cute it is. In this awesome green and yellow, but I don't think they have this colorway anymore. I can't remember what it was called, but I loved it. And yeah, so they taught me how to knit this, and then I took off. And then I think we knitted a hat together, like a little mini knit along with just like the three of us. And then our knitting group grew to our other friends, and it was really solid for years. We would meet all the time, especially when our kids were like babies. And we had a really like almost weekly maybe, or monthly, I don't know. We hung out all the time to knit, and it was such a cool time as a group of moms. I think we were finding our way through the early stages of motherhood together and sharing stories and knitting as you do. And it's become such a deeper thing, this connection you have with the knitting group, it becomes like your best friends. And so I will always be so grateful to Amy and Sarah for teaching me how to knit, because it changed my life and the direction of like everything I did after that. And so that is my knitting origin story. And I love that I have this scarf too, as a memory, as part of it, and as something I can still wear. And yeah, tell me in the comments what your first project was, or what your knitting origin story is, because I love reading that and finding that out from other people too. So that was a really good question. Thank you. Next question is, where do you source your not me-made wardrobe pieces? I love your style. Thank you so much, because I feel like I don't have a great style, but I have a very basic, like, wardrobe of very me things, I think. I wear a ton of black. You've seen that over the years. I have a ton of black concert band t-shirts, like bands I've seen from shows I've seen. I have way too many of those, but I will never get rid of any of them. And then I wear Vans a lot because my husband is a skater, my kids are skaters, and it's just become like the culture that has infiltrated our family, and they're very comfortable and I love how they look. But other than that, I love Uniqlo, all their basics. That's where this sweater's from. Uniqlo has amazing everything, just basics. Gap, of course. Packed. I love Packed because it's organic cotton and linen and really nice fabrics. Another like really good basics and casual pieces and dresses too. Quince, I'm sure, is a brand you've heard of that has like other like really good basics again at an affordable price. And then, like I said, the band t-shirts, the Vans, the jeans. I don't know. I have the same pair of Vans pants. Like there's this one pair of green Vans, kind of like, they're not cargo pants, kind of like that, but I have like 5 of them because that's the only pair of pants I want to wear. And I source those because I think they're kind of older now. I buy them on Poshmark. I love Poshmark, and I buy a lot of my things on Poshmark. I will search and hunt until I find that thing. It will pop up eventually. It always does. But those Vans pants I have bought in green and this color called grape. That's like a purpley color. Maybe tan too. I don't know. I have a bunch of that exact pair of pants because that's really all I want to wear. And they're like kind of elastic, drawstring, chino type pants that go with everything, and they go with my Vans. So that is my very complicated style profile. That's kind of, I don't know, that's my Jen capsule wardrobe. This next question is kind of a fun one, and it is, I'd love to learn about Jen in the late 1990s, early 2000s, and that part of your crafting journey. Okay. So let's see. I became a blogger back in that time. Like I felt like I was very, very on the early part of blogging. And then when blogging exploded and, you had like those readers that I had like a reader of subscriptions of blogs I would read every day. I was part of that whole thing. And I wrote blog posts all the time about everything, about crafting. I would do like craft projects, craft tutorials of all kinds, like weird stuff, handmade stuff. I was very into the DIY thing, that big movement that went through, and I used to vend at Renegade Craft Fair in Chicago. This is like a different lifetime. The other thing that I did back in this time is I was kind of like almost a semi-professional scrapbooker. And this is when, what is the name of that store? There was this big scrapbooking store. I'm going to have to look it up. Creative Memories or something? No, let me look this up. Oh my gosh, it was called Archivers. Did you have an Archivers in your city? It was like glorious. Letter stickers, printed papers, 12 by 12 of every kind of background you could imagine, every theme. And I scrapbooked like our wedding and my baby's births, and I made them like these elaborate baby books. And I went to town on I was on scrapbooking teams where we would have a creative prompt once a week that was put on this website called The Dares. And we were we'd all take our take on the prompt and make a scrapbooking page of it. And it was real artsy, craftsy, weird at the time. It was a little bit different. And then the traditional topics. And then we had our weird dares. And it could be a song lyric or something weird. And I have binders of these scrapbook pages. Do you want me to go get one? Okay, I'm going to do it. It's going to be embarrassing. Okay, I don't even know if I can do this, but this has fallen apart. But I had to take these out for some reason, and I don't remember what happened, but I didn't put them back in. But this is one of my Dares binders, and the sticker fell off, so it says Airs. But we would keep, oh my gosh. Nope, this is crazy, and I don't know if I can show you. We would do like these page protectors and just little collages of stickers and photos for the topic we had chosen. Oh my gosh, this is going to be embarrassing. This is when I turned 30. This is an old picture of me from 1981. So we had to make, I don't know if we picked a year or just made a scrapbook page about ourselves when we were younger. There was a lot of like music related things. That would be a song lyric. I don't even know. If you were part of this movement, please tell me below if you remember anything like this. There was 2 Peas in a Pod, the website, and then there was another one, or no, is that right? Two Peas? Something like that. And there was another big website where I met like tons of scrapbooking friends that I'm still friends with all these years later. And we made things like this. And we went to like the big markets, almost like the Vogue Knitting Live type thing, but it was like industry specific, and it was like paper crafts. What was that called? Something in Pasadena. And we all met up and went to like a trade show. I don't even remember. This is, oh my gosh. Wow. Old mail. Oh my goodness. This is bringing back so many memories. This one, wow. And these were some of my dares. Wow, this is actually beautiful. So it was like art journaling, scrapbooking, and then we would snail mail each other things. And like, this is from my dear friend, Kim Smith, who we were like creative pen pals back in the day, and she was in the UK. She sadly passed away a couple of years ago, and I cannot believe it. She even sent me, she was a knitter too, and she sent me newborn little baby socks that she had knitted that were color work when Bowie was born. And she would mail me like little pen pal drawings and things in the mail. And she would burn CDs, and we would do playlists for each other. I cannot believe, this is like, I forgot about this. But she was my really good friend and legit pen pals, like one of the most creative people I've ever met. And okay, I won't go too far down this scrapbook memory lane. Oh my gosh, the letter stickers and the selfies. This is kind of blowing my mind. The song lyrics in a very interesting handwritten font. This is from the Flaming Lips show that I went to, but that's actually kind of cool. I don't hate all of this. This is definitely a snapshot of this era, and it is kind of cool that I still have all this, because I remember there was a time I was just gonna like throw this away, because like, what is it? Look how good. I painted this little, it's the cracked ones that let all the light into the world. Okay. There's my first scarf. Shut up, this has come full circle. This is my scrapbook page about the scarf. This scarf. And when I learned to knit. No flipping way. Wow, okay. And yeah, there's more. There's just a lot more. Huh. One more page. This was on the bottom of the pile. This is my grandma, and I wrote this little thing about her, and it says, she sends me butterflies, and she was part of my crafting story for sure. Everything I learned crafty was from her when I was little, and we crocheted together. She was a huge part of my life, a huge influence. Her name is Minnie, and she's the cutest, sweetest grandma ever. She was a really good cook. We baked together. We did everything together. We made crafts together. She crocheted. She quilted beautiful quilts. She sewed. She did every single craft imaginable. And what did I write? She sends me butterflies. Okay, so she died of cancer when I was in junior high, and it was probably one of the most traumatic things I went through because I was so close with her. And before she passed, I asked her if she would send me butterflies as like this. I know this is a very common thing too, like a symbolic thing when someone dies. There's cardinals, there's butterflies. It's not like a special thing, but I was a child and it was special to me and I still believe it. And so I was like, when I'm thinking of you or when I need a sign or whatever, I need some comfort, send me butterflies. And she does. And I swear all these years she sent me butterflies. And it says, my grandma passed away in 1991. But before she died, she said she'd send me butterflies, like the real thing, or sometimes in a symbolic way. She was very special to me, and now when I need encouragement, or sometimes out of the blue, she's there. So maybe scrapbooking isn't silly and dumb. That's actually a beautiful memory and a beautiful page. Wow. Okay. So anyway, that is a glimpse into early crafting Jen, early blogging Jen, and when I started to put myself out into like the internet world, because we blogged all of this. This is how we shared it, and we shared it on message boards. And this, I think, was my natural, weird progression. Like, I think I wanted to share stuff. I love documenting things, and this is how I accidentally got into YouTube. So that's the origin story right there. And I think this all just kind of made sense to me right now. And before I move on, I have to share one of the little baby albums I made for Lotus. And I really went hard at this time. This was like, I designed this with my graphic design skills. And then I took these pictures of her with a calendar page, like a lot of people do now, but I think this was kind of a new idea back then. And I would write all the things about that month. So this is like her first month. And we go through, like, this is actually, I'm glad I did this. And I go through each month as she got bigger. Look at my baby getting bigger. Look at that. Then she's holding the page. Then she would like try to take a bite of the page. I do remember this. And I'd write this little paragraph on the side about, those milestones and developments and things like that. There she's holding the pages. Always like naked in a diaper to keep it consistent. Always black and white. So here we're up to what? November? Ah, look at that one. She's like this almost. Okay, this is very sweet. And I really completed it, which is good for me. And then it was like up till her next birthday. That's pretty sweet. And I did a different version for Bowie. I didn't do this exact same thing. I think I did take those pictures though in that same way. But that's like how I would do, like, I have a separate baby book that's much more specific. But this is like nice little notes from your mom that you can read someday. I should probably go show it to her because I don't know if she's seen it in quite a while. Next question. Okay, these got kind of deep. This is actually turning out to be like not such a boring, I thought I had nothing this week, and we've gone pretty deep already. So the next question is, I've never been to Iowa. Did you grow up in Des Moines? It looks like a great community. I'd love to hear a little bit about what you love about it. So I do love Iowa. I grew up in a very small community, like a farming town on the border of Minnesota and Iowa, straight up from Des Moines. Very, very little town. I was actually born in Minnesota, lived in Iowa. A lot of my friends lived across the border. And so like we had a little elementary school that was consolidated from a bunch of little towns because we weren't like big enough to have our own schools. And so I grew up there. I always kind of wanted to leave that community, even though I love it. I love it there. No hate towards my little town, which is there's so many things I love about it. But I was always ready to get out. And so I did live in Minneapolis for a while during college, and I went to Iowa State, which is very close to Des Moines, in Ames, Iowa. And so I've lived in Iowa pretty much the whole time, Iowa, Minnesota. That's it. And then, like I said before, I met my husband in Des Moines, so I ended up staying here. That was not really my plan, but I do love it here. We have a really good art community, and we get quite a bit of music. We don't get as much as some of the cities around us, but we're within a radius of all the other big cities. Like we can get to Minneapolis in a few hours. We can get to Chicago in a few hours. We can get to Omaha and Kansas City. We're like right in the middle. And I do really like the Midwest and being here. We don't have like horrible traffic, but we have a city and like a downtown that's really fun to visit. We have a beautiful art museum where I work that is like world-class, amazing art that you wouldn't believe would be in Iowa. So we have our little unique things. And then our weather is good. We have all the seasons, which I do really love. Even right now, I don't really love it because we did just have some really nice, warm 60-degree days. And today we're getting snow. So it is a lot. It's a lot to handle, but I get to wear my knits. I get to be cozy and knit in the winter. I love a good snowstorm. I love a 90-degree hot day and going to the pool. It's a pretty good place to raise kids, and we're just settled here. And I don't know, I love my Iowa roots. There's some things I would definitely like to change. Like there's some things that are not so great politically right now, but I do love it here. And those are some of the reasons why. Next question, and I might do a whole video about this coming up because this has been a problem, but how do you store your stash? My stash lately feels very out of control. Part of it is because I work on a lot of projects for yarn companies and I'm designing stuff. So I get a lot of yarn for free. That's part of the problem. Also, I collect yarn. I love to shop for yarn, and I don't have it organized very well at the moment, and I would like to really get into that at another time, not right now. But I store it in bins, like plastic bins. It's not glamorous or exciting. I would like to find a better way. I store it by fiber and by weight. So I have my sock yarn together, my bulky yarns together, my like hand dyed together, and like my wool together. And then I have like Rhinebeck type local wools, that stuff together. But I have it in bins and IKEA big blue bags and the IKEA zip bags, which I got for moving my daughter to college. We got these zipper bags to move her, and I found out how nice those are because they're kind of modular. They're almost like a long rectangle cube type where you can stack them, which is dangerous. But my stash is a little bit out of control right now. I don't feel like it's in a good place. I really need a day to go down. It's in my basement, by the way. We have kind of a small little house. I love our house to death, but my yarn storage downstairs is not the cutest or the greatest, and I want to make it better, so much better. I want to make that yarn room really cute and organized, and right now it is not, and so it does stress me out when I go down there. So that might be something that you see in the future. And yes, there was another question, will you show us our stash? And I will someday, and we will go down, and it's not cute, just know that. But it needs some work, and it's something I really want to tackle soon. The next question is a really fun one. It is, what is your dream craft holiday trip if the budget was tossed out the window, aside from Iceland, because I did Iceland last year? Okay, I would love to go on the Norwegian cruises with Arne and Carlos. That has been on my list for so many years, but they are kind of expensive, so that's a tricky one. I would love to go on the Alaska cruise with the Grocery Girls. That's another one. Or just go on my own. Not even a cruise, maybe. The cruise thing honestly kind of freaks me out because I have a real problem with motion sickness, and I'm afraid that some of these cruises will get rocky, especially in these cold places. Can you please tell me, if you've been on one, is that a problem? Because that's the one thing that really turns me off of these cruises. I want to go so badly. So part of it is financial stuff. Second part is I'm really afraid of motion sickness. I'm afraid of being stuck on a boat and having motion sickness. So that's like the one thing. But could I just go to Norway? Yes. And go to like the Scandinavian countries and go see knitting stuff there, or go to Japan and see the yarn stores that are like the coffee shops. I would love to do that. I would just love to go to Alaska and do that as well. I'll go anywhere. If anybody wants to do a knitting trip or knows how to organize that, or like wants me to lead a knitting trip to somewhere I haven't been before, let me know. I'm very interested in that. But actually, this dream is kind of happening for me next week on a smaller, more local scale. We have a local group called Wander Women Midwest, and they lead these amazing tours and trips and camping trips and hiking trips, just like adventurous trips for women. and you get to travel with these women. And it's okay. You can go by yourself or you can go with a friend. You can sign up however you want. But they just went to Mexico to see the monarchs migrating. They go like climb mountains, or they go to Moab, or they do all kinds of things. But I think they're going internationally this year a little bit more. So it's actually called Cast On and Chill, a cozy craft retreat with Jen Geigley. And we're going to Minneapolis and the St. Paul area. We have an Airbnb cabin on a lake called Turtle Lake. And we go next week. We go Thursday through Sunday. And then we have like mini field trips in the Minneapolis area.
Editing Jen here to say that we love and support our neighbors to the north, and Minnesota is very near and dear to our hearts, as you've heard me say many a time here on this channel. We planned this Minnesota trip long before everything happened in Minneapolis, and we hope to support our friends and businesses there when we go. We are still trying to figure out the best way to do that. Wander Women have been donating to the migrant movement for justice to support immigrants and refuge advocacy and legal assistance. And we are all frequenters of immigrant-owned small businesses in the Twin Cities. We love so many things about Minneapolis and other areas of the state. In many ways, it feels like a second home to us. We stand with the immigrant population there, and we hope to help in any way we can.
The next question, if you've watched here for a while, the question is, how are the deer? And we have a little family of deer that kind of live in our backyard. And we don't see them as much during the winter, but they are mostly okay. We had some sad things that happened last summer where a few of the deer were hit by cars or did not survive for some reason. It was a rough one. And there was a heat thing that happened with two little fawns. I don't even want to tell you, it's really, really sad. But most of the deer are still alive and doing well. And we see a lot of the bucks in the winter, and we'll see like big groups of the deer, like 7 or 8 at a time. They'll hang out in our backyard and like rest or sleep or try to find some foliage to eat in the frozen tundra that we live in. But they are doing mostly well, and we love them very much. And then usually there is a doe that has a fawn or two in our yard. And I think it's because we have sort of fences in the back from like the neighbors, but we don't have a dog, and most people around here have a dog in the backyard. And so I don't know if that's why they choose us or that we're just very nice people and we leave them alone. But there's usually a fawn or two in the spring, usually around April. I'll come across one, or we're very careful. Like when we mow the yard, we stay away from where they usually put the baby, and then we'll just see a little baby hanging out back there. And it's very sweet, and we love it. Over the years, we've called it the Geigley Baby Deer Daycare because the moms usually leave the babies in our yard alone. This seems wrong, but it's the way it is. Because of the mother's scent, they will leave the babies and come get them at like 8 p.m., like clockwork, every day during the summer. And so we love watching that because the baby deer seriously just hang out under a tree or by the bushes in our backyard, and then the mom comes and picks them up for the evening. And it's been years of this. And so we love our deer. Next question, and I'll leave this for Erica someday to answer, but does Erica work at a zoo? How cool is that? And yes, she does. So I'll let her give a full answer sometime because I'm not like, I need to ask her exactly what she does there, but she works with volunteers. She works with teen and kid volunteers and like camps and all sorts of things. And she works with conservation and making the lives of animals better and like enrichment and all kinds of things. And she does huge presentations at like national conventions. And she's super smart and really good at what she does. And she really cares about animals. And it's a beautiful thing. They've also rehabbed this breed of turtles that's local to Iowa. And they've like helped get them back out into the wild. And they like, bred some of them in captivity to get them the numbers back up. And I'm probably not explaining this correctly, but yeah, she has a really cool job and she's really good at it. And one cool perk of knowing someone who works at the zoo is she took Bowie and I to see the Aldabra tortoises, like the huge, huge tortoises. And we got to go meet them and like he got to pet them. They're usually, off limits for people to do that. But she took us in and like, taught us how to do it safely and not get stepped on because they're really, really big. And that was like the highlight of Bowie's life. He loves turtles and tortoises. And so that was super cool to know somebody at the zoo who could like go let us meet the tortoises. The next question is, do you have any whips that have been sitting in bags for too long? Yes. Yes, I do. And this happens to me a lot because I do a lot of deadline knitting for like my book, or I was doing it for Knit Stars last year, or I have yarn companies that I'm working for. I do like knit collage designs. And so I have to put things aside, like the fun knitting goes in the whip pile until I do the deadline knitting. And so it happens a lot. And things just that I don't want to be whips end up in the whip pile. So my whip pile is in an IKEA bag that holds the smaller whip bags. That's like, so I know where they are at least. That's where they go. And it's the one that's lingering the longest that really bugs me that it's there. And I need to just get it out so I can look at it and then it will make me work on it. Is the Pearl Soho blanket. If you remember a couple of winters ago, I got the collection of the quill minis from Pearl Soho for that beautiful multicolored blanket. And you're supposed to like just pick and choose at random their next stripes and like a cool and a warm. It's the coolest project. It's so inspiring. And I never have time to work on it. And it's just sitting there and it's driving me nuts. So maybe I will get that out and take it with me to Minnesota because I'm going to need a knitting project to work on there next week. So maybe I'll go look at my whip bag of bags and pick something out to bring with me. Although I might still have some deadline knitting on the needles. Anyway, it'd be fun to bring that out and just get it back out again. So yes, I do have whips that are lingering and it drives me nuts. Next question. Are you planning to sell or declutter any handmade knits that you don't wear? Yes. And I luckily have the opportunity to do this once a year. I could do it more, but this is kind of my easy way of doing it. I participate in a craft handmade holiday market every December, and it's at Val Air. I think I've shown it during Vlogmas. It's amazing. It's huge. And every year I've been bringing some of my hand knit sweaters and my book samples and different things from the past, and I will sell them there. Or sometimes I've just given them to people too. It's however you need to do it. I can't keep them all, especially like I have 5 self-published books that I've done like in the past, plus other books, plus Rowan books, plus samples from all sorts of things, aside from my personal hand knit collection. And I wear some of those samples too, but some of them I don't really. And some of them are for like a men's book. Some of them are children's knits. And like some of them are way smaller than my children are now even. And so I have bins and bins of those hand knit samples. And some of them I really like to keep. Some of them are my children's past things that they've worn. And so it's like special. And then some of them I just can't, I don't have room for them anymore. And this is part of my whole stash problem downstairs because it is like a mountain right now of bins and bags of yarn and projects. And so I need a better way to handle it. But I do get rid of some every year. And so I do feel like it's healthy to go through that cycle of things I will never probably wear, things my family won't wear. And so it's hard to make those decisions, but I always feel good doing it. And it's nice to get your knits out there and having people wear them. And so I think it's a good thing. Next question. How did you transition from bulky yarn projects to what you're doing now? And so, yes, if you knew me in the beginning of my knitting life, I did a lot of bulky knits and I kind of became known for that. And so a lot of it came from my cowl, the Gaptastic cowl, the big long seed stitch cowl, because that was my first big pattern on Ravelry. And then I did a book of chunky knits that you can make in a weekend. That was my first book and it's called Weekend. And from that, I think a lot of people wanted me to do chunky. And so I did a Modern Daily Knitting field guide number 12. That was also like a gift knit, quick knit field guide. And we used all Rowan big wool, which was really, really fun. And then, so yeah, it was like chunky cardigans, accessories, hats. I still am really comfortable with that weight of yarn. And now that has kind of transitioned into knitting for knit collage and doing designs for them, which I love. So I love a bulky knit. But the whole time I've been doing that, I've been knitting socks and tiny things too, and DK and worsted and every single weight in between. And so I think a lot of people in the beginning didn't know that, but I was, in my personal knitting all weights of yarn from the beginning. And then a lot of my design work was in bulky, just I think because of the speed of it. I had little kids at that time too. And even now, it's hard to get deadline knitting done. Like I have a book of knits to make. I need to make 10 things by like October. And I'm a little scared and stressed out. So I might have some knitting helpers that are going to help me out and make things because it is hard to fit all that in and have a little bit of enjoyable knitting on the side of, knitting whatever you want. I have so many things I want to make at all times. So if you feel like that too, it's normal, I think, and we can only do so much. But the bulky thing helped me knit a lot more, I think, and I love that still to this day. Next, I have 3 different questions about graphic design and knitwear design and all that stuff. So I kind of got into it earlier, but it's funny that you guys were asking about this because maybe I talked about it and you could see my wheels turning about like how it's a lot to do both. And I don't know how much longer I'll be able to do both. And still, I don't know. I'm still figuring it out, but they're asking, I know your background is graphic design. Do you still do graphic design work or are you 100% doing knitwear design? And then another person said, how many clients do you have for graphic design work? What kind of projects do you mostly work on? And what is the work that you do from home? Is it a full-time job or jobs from different companies? Yes, all that. So yeah, I work for a lot of different companies. I work for one company who represents and like finds all these companies. And so I do a lot of print media. I do a lot of web stuff. I do a lot of digital ads for different companies. And a lot of them through the one company I work for are local businesses. So I'll do restaurants and every type of like small non-chain business that there is. I also work for insurance companies and I make like PDFs of information. I do and then I do social media. So I do social media graphics and posts for a lot of different companies. So that is like that big chunk of work that I do kind of during the day and full time. And then I try to fit in all the knitting stuff too. And it's a lot. And so that's kind of what I do. But I do it all. Any kind of graphics you need, logos, like branding, any of that, colors. I love all of that. I do love that stuff. Am I a little burned out on it? To be honest, yes. But I don't know. I'm having a hard time letting it go. But I am lately just dreaming of doing knitting full time. And so I do feel myself moving that direction. There'll always be some graphic design happening. And I love doing that for myself. So that's how I self-published all those books years ago. It was really fun because I got to do all the layout because I used to work in magazines too for the longest time. And I love that. I worked on newspapers and magazines locally at a company called Business Publications. And it was great. So I love doing my books and being in control of all the design stuff for that. And, putting in the photos and the layout of the text. And that's like my favorite thing to put together. And so it is really fun to come back and do another book this year and maybe be involved in that process a little bit because I love the design side of it. But yeah, working on all these ads and other things and social media for other people is kind of draining. So anyway, that's my life right now. So there's a bunch more questions, but I think that's enough for today. I'm just going to end with this last one and then I'll do another Q&A sometime because this is really fun. Actually, this has been a good one and I've really enjoyed this. And I thought I was going to have nothing to say today, but that is not true. And that happens all the time when I'm sitting down like, what am I going to do? Something always works out. So thank you. Can you give us a calendar of Gen events for 2026? For the beginning of the year. So this was asked in December. So yeah, I did Vogue Knitting Live. That was a big one. And then I'm going to Nash Yarn Fest in April with Erica. And we are very excited for that. I cannot wait already. I just got the email yesterday that talked about the Hootenanny. It's a Hootenanny and there's going to be line dancing. I cannot wait. And a comedian and like a bluegrass artist. And then there's like the whole marketplace. There's so much happening. If you're within like driving distance or flying distance of Nashville, check out Nash Yarn Fest. It's hosted by my friends at Modern Daily Knitting. It is an amazing event. We had the best time last year. Last year was their first event and it was incredible. First, right out of the gate, like they do an incredible job. And then this is going to be their second event and it's a little bit different. But it is going to be so much fun and it's going to be like knitting spring break and I cannot wait to go. So check out Nash Yarn Fest. So I'm going there and then, my Wonder Women Knitting with Jen Geigley thing next weekend in Minneapolis. And then what else? Rhinebeck. I don't know if there's anything in between that. Is there? I would love to have a summer of whatever knitting events I could drive to. I'm going to look at some fiber. There's like a Minnesota and a Wisconsin Fiber Fest that I would like to go to. That would be really fun. Maybe I'll do a summer of little road trips. I don't know. We'll see. Those are my main events. Which brings me to my favorite knitting event of the year, Knit for Food. And you can join us virtually or from wherever you are. You can donate using my link below. We are opening the donations now, but the actual knit-a-thon is on April 11th, and it's a 12-hour knit-a-thon. You don't have to knit the whole time, but you can join us and knit and fundraise with us, or you can just donate. It is a beautiful thing. Every dollar really, really helps. Every $5, every $10, it really, really adds up. So thank you so much if you choose to donate. But yeah, all of the money we raise will be distributed between 4 amazing organizations that really help so much in our communities all over the country: Feeding America, World Central Kitchen, No Kid Hungry, and Meals on Wheels. So there are a lot of events all across the country where you can go join and knit for food on April 11th. I am hosting one here in Des Moines at Black Sheep Craft Shop. So save the date for that. If you want to come knit with us, you can just come hang out and knit. I think we're going to maybe bring some snacks, some drinks, like a little potluck, share a snack type of thing, but really casual. We haven't decided on a time yet, but April 11th, we will be meeting up there. But yeah, please join us or please donate using my link below. And I thank you so much. Also, there's another way you can help Knit for Food, and that is by purchasing a Knitting is Resistance t-shirt, which is my collab with Raygun, and all the proceeds from that are donated by Raygun towards Knit for Food. And so that is another really easy way to support Knit for Food and raise money to fight food insecurity. That is all I have for this week, and I thought I had nothing for this week, but instead you saw my very first scarf and my scrapbook pages. Like, wow, we really got into it. I upload a new video every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. So join me next week when I will probably be getting ready to go to Minnesota. And then I hope to have a little recap of that trip after that. So the next week, stop back to see what we did on our knitting weekend in Minnesota. I'm very much looking forward to it. I cannot wait. But thank you for hanging out here with me and spending a little bit of your crafty time. Please take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.